Good evening, sons and daughters of God. Hello. Thanks for dropping by. This topic is so near and dear to me. And in my own experience, and then having talked to a lot of other spiritual people, it's a huge, huge mistake people make. They dismiss the power of the ego. So, first of all, we're at a disadvantage, in the West. Ego's like, oh, it's just ego. Like someone is a little too aggressive, and we're like, oh, that's ego. Whereas in the East, they're very clear, from a spiritual point of view anyway, that ego is like that which separates from God, that which causes all suffering. So we're at a little bit of a disadvantage, but we can catch up. And Jesus helps us do that in the Course. So I'm going to be reading from the HLC version of the Course. This is chapter 3, the last section. In this version, they call it Creating versus the Self-Image. Every system of thought must have a starting point. It begins with either a making or a creating, differences which have been discussed already. Basically, Jesus points out that making is something that we do from a place of lack, whereas creating, in the true sense of the word, is just an extension of our soul. So, their resemblance lies in their power. So let me back up. Every system of thought must have a starting point. It begins with either a making or a creating, a difference which we have discussed already. Their resemblance lies in their power as foundation. Their difference lies in what rests upon them. Both are cornerstones for systems of belief by which men live. It is a mistake to believe that a thought system which is based on lies is weak. Nothing made by a child of God is without power. It is essential to realize this, because otherwise you will not understand why you have so much trouble with this Course and will be unable to escape from the prisons with which you've made yourself. So, according to Jesus, if we underestimate the ego, we will not escape. I mean, eventually, everyone will escape, and until we cease underestimating the power of the ego, we won't escape from its prison. And he explains a little bit more about that, which I'll read in a bit. But that's, most people just be like, oh, the ego is just illusion, and just very dismissive towards it. And now there is a way to dismiss the ego, but that is not it. That's not it at all. I'm going to continue reading. This is paragraph 7. The mind can make the belief in separation very real and very fearful. And this belief is the, in quotes, devil. It is powerful, active, destructive, and clearly in opposition to God, because it literally denies his fatherhood. Never underestimate the power of Never underestimate the power of this denial. So here's another reason. So if we don't, so here we are in the dream. It's an illusion. The ego's an illusion. And so the ego, in a sense, is the enemy, though not really, but just metaphorically. Okay, metaphorically, it's what we're up against. It's the challenge. And if we underestimate the challenge, it's won. And it will keep us bound, because we won't be motivated to seek freedom from it, is part of the reason. And here Jesus gives another it's like, the funny thing is only the ego would underestimate the power of the ego. So if we don't respect the power of the ego, actually we're in ego. And here Jesus explains that a little clearer. Again, it is a mistake to believe that a thought system which is based on lies is weak. Nothing made by a child of God is without power. It is essential to realize this because otherwise you will not understand what. I already read that part. But so even though it's false, even though it's an illusion, it was made by the Son of God. And if we underestimate it, we underestimate its maker, us, the one, the Son of God. So isn't the ego so slick? Like, doesn't it seem like wisdom to just dismiss the ego? But actually, that's the ego doing that. Because in so doing, it dismisses the power of that which makes it. And it also then keeps us from feeling motivated to try and overcome it. Like, oh, it's just the ego, no big deal. Let's keep in mind the ego, it's egoic thought system that nailed Jesus to the cross. And it's egoic thought system, it's egoic thinking that's responsible for every ounce of suffering in our lives and in this world. And here, Jesus, doesn't say it's literally the devil, but he draws a comparison that it's not, the Christian notion of the devil is not so far from the ego in terms of its conniving and suffering producing capacity. So you cannot resolve the authority problem by depreciating the power of your minds. The authority problem is who made us. So the ego's thought system is that it made itself, or we made ourselves. Whereas the foundation of the Course is actually we are made by God. And so the authority problem, which Jesus talks about earlier, is this is a central topic in the ego's thought system. In fact, it's the root. The authority problem is who created me. The ego's answer is I created me. Whereas the truth, this entire Course is based on, is God created us. So you cannot resolve the authority problem by depreciating the power of your minds. To do so is to deceive yourself, and this will hurt you because you know the strength of your mind. You also know that you cannot weaken it any more than you can weaken God. So we depreciate the power of the ego, we depreciate the power of that which made it, and then we're stuck. Sometimes you just gotta look at the ego and just be like, wow, dude, you're slick. You are slick. So again, here's some instructions from Jesus. Never underestimate the power of this denial. It's funny, I've stuttered twice on that line, so it must be an important one. Never underestimate the power of this denial. I'll read the whole paragraph again. The mind can make the belief system in separation very real. The mind can make the belief in separation very real and very fearful. And this belief is the devil. It is powerful, active, destructive, and clearly in opposition to God because it literally denies his fatherhood. What should we not do? Never underestimate the power of this denial. Look at your lives and see what the devil has made. Again, metaphorically, the devil. But know that this making will surely dissolve in the light of truth because its foundation is a lie. So the ego is based on a lie. Its foundation is a lie, and lies can only hold up so long. The ego would like to keep us separate forever, like to keep itself separate and suffering forever. And if it was based on any truth, it would succeed. And it's actually based on a lie. So it will fall. Its falling is inevitable. And we can speed up that falling by not underestimating it. Thanks so much, angels. Let me conclude. Your creation by God is the only foundation which cannot be shaken because the light is in it. So that's the foundation of our thought system needs to be, I'm a creation of God. Or as it says right here, You'll have to back up a moment. I can't find the exact quote, but our foundation needs to be that we are a perfect son of God, created by God. The separation occurred because into the mind of the Son of God came a thought at which he forgot to laugh. What was that idea? The Course doesn't say what the exact thought is, but it does say that it basically comes down to the idea that the Son of God can be less than perfect. That you and I can be less than perfect is the foundation of the ego's thought system and the cause of all suffering in the world. The solution? A new foundation. The recognition of our inherent wholeness, completion, perfection as a creation of God. Have a beautiful one. Thanks so much.